So I appreciate you taking the time today just to sort of do this session, because I know you probably, how many people got lots of pressing work that you're maybe behind? How many people are behind in some work right now? Raise your hand, yeah. That seems to be the way of it, right? So, but sometimes, as they say, sometimes we have to stop, you know, and sort of sharpen the axe. Stephen Covey, author, said that, you know, sometimes we're chopping that tree down, and our axe gets dull, and we have to take the time, stop, sharpen the axe. And so that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk about some things that we can do, some things we can learn maybe, that will make everything else sort of more effective that we do. I'm going to put a few things on the board, and you're going to just make a list very quickly. And then when I say ready, set, go, we're going to sort of get up and we're going to find people in this room that these things apply to. Okay, now I'll show you what I mean. People who have lived in another province or country. People, somebody who wants to start their own business. So what I'm saying is, once this list is done, you're going to take this list and you're going to go around the room and you're going to say, Leotra, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Leotra, do you want to start your own business? And you're going to find people, and you're going to put their name beside these. Does that make sense? And we'll talk about it. And then we sort of see who gets them all first. The next one, someone who is sometimes nervous at job interviews. That one might be hard to find. Someone who finds math a challenge. Can you read my writing? Anybody need clarification? Ready? So we're all going to have to stand up to do this, right? Ready, set, go. I have a prize for the winner.
Nope.
Okay. Are you nervous?
Nope.
Medina
Where's the word
So we have one person completed.
I'm finished.
You finished?
Yeah.
Zelda's finished? Okay, good.
I finished too.
Okay, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Did I do it wrong? Because I got, like, Yassine did that one, and that one. Was
That's
it
okay.
all-
You're allowed to have, yeah, you're allowed to have repeats. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't tell you couldn't. Okay, there's the buzzer. Sorry about that. A little nasal congestion. Okay, how did you do? You did great, didn't you?
Yeah.
Saw lots of interaction and that sort of thing. Now, I know for sure that this was the first person and by the way, I didn't shake your hand yet.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. A little late, but how about a big hand for Alexandria? She was the first person that called to me that won. Now I had these flown in from Paris, France. I didn't buy them at the dollar store, honest. Now you get a choice. Look at this. If you take those, you'll have to share them. You know that, right?
Yeah, no, I'll take this.
Oh, she's taking them. Okay. Now you know you want one of these, don't you?
I'll take the frisbee.
The frisbee, and you get this.
Okay.
Do
Oh, you have kids. Yeah.
you go to the beach much? Okay, good. Okay, good job. Zelda,
Yes.
tell us who you found for what?
Okay, live in another province, country, as Yassine.
And where?
India.
In
From India?
India.
No.
What else?
And then I'm comfortable with speaking, public speaking, Yassine.
Okay, yeah, like 80, 90% of people, right? Next.
Live in another province or country, Yassine in India. Wants to start their own business, Mr. Weber over there. Nervous at a job interview, Humera. Finds math a challenge, Mamawa. Cried at a movie, Gary. 3 people with pets, Gary, Pepper, Alex, Eow, Adina, Peter. Someone uncomfortable speaking in public is Medina.
Nice, like a lot of us, right? Excellent. Good. Caitlin, good job. Caitlin was just like boom, boom, boom. There it is. Okay, Medina.
What is the business?
Oh, hair styling.
Okay. Nervous at the job interview, Alexandria. cried that movie, Yasin. People with pets. Marie. Gary and Future.
Okay. Finn, right?
Who feel not comfortable speaking English? Kate.
Caitlin. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job. Next.
Live in another province, country, and 3 people with pets named Mitzi and Alexandra and Lutra, and uncomfortable public speaking, Medina.
Nice. Good job. Good job. You got a lot of them, if not all. Alexandria.
Lived in another province country. I have Zelda. She lives in Newfoundland.
Get out. No, really, get out. No, I'm just joking.
Someone who wants to start their own business. I can't say her name. Pardon? Momoa. And someone who is sometimes nervous at a job interview, Kate. And then I have someone who finds math a challenge, Adina. And someone who cried at a movie, Tahira. And people with pets, I got Spaz, Peter, and Rupert. Can't remember whose pet's name.
Spaz? Did you say Spaz?
Spaz, Peter, and Rupert.
Okay.
Crazy.
Oh, that's
And,
fun.
I'm comfortable with speaking is Homea.
Humara?
Homea.
Okay, good. Her name thing was upside down. I was calling her something really weird, like. No, it was backwards anyway. No.
It was upside.
If somebody were to call you up and they say, we're going to put on a 2.5, 3 hour session at the Kennard Learning Center for you, and you go, okay, so why are you calling? And they say, well, because we want it to be the very best training session it can be. We want it to be the ideal. What does the word ideal mean? Ideal. Like perfect, right? The best it could be. So nothing's perfect, but we want it to be the best it can be. And we want you to tell us what are some things that you need. Now you say, oh, what's it for? And they go, well, it's just to help. Wherever you're at right now, with your life challenges, education, family, employment, whatever, what are some of the things you think people need help with in life? I know that's a broad question. What do people, starting your own business, what do you need help with starting your own business? What sorts of things? Legal terms. What else? Now think about life. I want you to expand it now. This is good. But is there anything, what else in life?
Parenting?
Was it?
Being like a new parent.
Yeah, parenting. Communication. Now, all these things, obviously, how many people are getting some, if not all these things now, where you're in this institution or somewhere? You're getting most of these. Now, when let's talk about me for a while. No, I'm just joking. When I came back east and started my business, for instance, I'm using it as an example, but the funding, the startup, and who to call, where to look for clients. It's sort of the same with job search as well. Those were all very important, but I found something else was important too. And I found that, for instance, even speaking in front of people, I had a hard time with that because when I was with the government, I wasn't part of my job to present. As a matter of fact, I was scared to death of speaking in front of people. So how many people are a little uncomfortable speaking in front of people? Now, you know how uncomfortable you feel? I was 100 times worse. But when I came back, because I wanted to come back east so badly, and I knew that I wanted to do this, even though I was afraid to do it. So I had to learn, I had to practice. We were talking this morning, sometimes we have to do something that we don't feel comfortable with, but then we have to do it again. There's an old saying that says anything worth doing. You ever hear this saying? Anything worth doing is worth doing again. Some people say anything worth doing is worth doing well. Have you ever heard that? But there's another saying that I sort of live by is anything worth doing is worth doing poorly at first. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly at first until we get good at it. How many people here are you're doing some of this stuff or other stuff in life and you don't feel very comfortable with it? Anybody? You know, even with language and stuff like that, someone mentioned. So what I found was for me to get successful and to make my business work, I found in addition to all this stuff, learning, education, there were some major obstacles, major things that I had to work on. And some of them were this. Some of them were, you know, fears. Fear of, you know, a couple of the big fears, fear of rejection. I found that I had to work on confidence. Anybody in here have to find that's the case? Sometimes we have to work on our confidence. And it never stops. I have to work on my confidence all the time. I had to work on things like self-esteem. And don't worry if you don't get all these down. That's okay. But I had to work on my self-esteem. How many people, we've heard self-esteem a million times? Self-confidence. Another word, something else I had to work on. What's that word?
Motivation.
Motivation. I had to work on my motivation because I felt like quitting. You know, when I start, just as an example, when I started calling people up to say, hi, my name's Earl McAllister. I'm new to Halifax. I have a training business. Can I come by and talk to you about my programs? Zelda works at a big company. Can I come by and talk about my programs? And she might say, no, all our training is done in Toronto. Click. So I cross her off. Go to the next one. Hi, Gary. I'm Earl. Can I come by and talk to you about my programs? Gary might say, we don't do any training here. We got no money for it. Click. So out of 80, 90 calls, I might get 3 or 4, 5 people that want to talk to me. And so, you know what? At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when the phone gets really heavy and I don't feel like hearing another no, I have to have something to motivate me. So a lot of this stuff, you know, yes, these are so important. Of course they are. But would you agree that there's some other stuff that's sort of, what would you call them? Some people call them soft skills or personal management skills that we need help with as well. Is there anybody that agrees with that? We need some of that stuff? So this session this morning, we're going to look at some of that stuff. And the motivational stuff, the fears of failure, how to get rid of those, self-esteem. Look at some of those things and maybe learn some ways that we can sort of enhance those skills. Would that be all right if we did that? Yeah. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do, and I'll do it over here, is I would like you to write this word down. Success. What I'd like you to do is write 3 or 4 things on your paper that you feel define success. What is success to you? Not how do I become successful, but what does it mean to you? Just jot 3 or 4 things down, please. Zelda, you have something. What? Having a career that you love and that you love to go to, right? Anything else? Adina, anything different? Yotra, anything different?
Ahead, like you're ahead when you feel like you're on top of the world because you did what you wanted to do.
On top of the world, as opposed to the Titanic, he was what? Like
Sinking.
king of the world. Yeah, not sinking. What was the line? I'm the king of the world? Anything else? Anything different? Medina, anything different? Caitlin, anything else? Anybody have anything? This is a good list. So what is success? You know, success is more than just stuff, right? It's more than just materialistic things. It's more than just money. It's more than just, you know, prestige but success is a lot of different things. We could add things like happy family life, right? Because if I were walking, next year I'm walking down Bayers Road, right out here? Bayers Road. I'm walking down Bayers Road and I see next year, pretend this happened, I see Mr. Weber on the other side of the road. And I'm walking down the road like this, because I walk like this. No, I don't. And I see Mr. Weber and I say, hi, Mr. Weber. And he goes, oh, hi, Earl. And I go and we chat. And I say, Mr. Weber, do you remember last year we talked about success? And he goes, yeah. And the definition. And then I said, and then if I asked him, now I would never ask anybody this question, but if I said, Mr. Weber, are you successful? If I asked him, or if anybody asked us, are we successful? What would we think about to answer that question? Am I successful? We'd probably think about a lot of these things, right? To sort of form the answer. That would be the criteria. And the other thing I want to say is this. We're here to learn how to become, in this very short session, we're here to learn a few things that can help us to be more successful in some of those areas. But I want to say this. Everybody in here is already successful, right? We're all successful in certain areas. Now, are there some areas that we'd like to improve in? Yeah, probably. I have some. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is have a look at this. It's called the ingredients of success. And really, what it does is it outlines or summarizes what we talked about on that board. And can I start with you, Adina? Can you read number 1? Yeah. You know, peace of mind, peace in your mind, little limited stress. You're happy with where you are. Next, Leotra. What's number 2?
Happiness and health.
So number 2, health and energy, right? We didn't put health up there. Sometimes we forget it. But is health part of success? Probably. Yes. Alexandria.
Loving relationships.
Loving relationships. And that could be family, that could be spouse, that could be friends, right? Happy, loving relationship. Is that part of success? Probably.
Yes.
Next.
The financial freedom.
Financial. Now, we didn't put that up there, but is money part of success?
Yes.
Is money everything?
No.
But is it part of success? Yes.
Yes.
We need money to live. We need money for the things, to pay the bills, to put some way to be comfortable. Next, Medina.
Worthy goals and ideals.
Worthy goals and ideals, right? Worthy goals, worthy. They mean something. We're moving ahead, right? Caitlin.
Self-knowledge and understanding.
Self-knowledge. Is that important? Self-knowledge?
Yes.
It's important to know ourselves. It's important to know why we behave certain ways, why we do certain things, why we don't do other things that maybe we should. Okay, where am I at right now with this? Not where do I want to be or where should I be? Where am I at right now? And you're going to give yourself a score. If you feel it's low, like peace of mind, if you're really stressed, you'll give yourself a low score. And that's okay. If you feel like little stress and you're relatively happy, and you'll give yourself a high score. So can we do that now? And you don't have to share your scores. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? You'll notice down below there's a circle. Now what I'd like you to do, once you've given yourself your scores, I want you to plot your answers. So whatever score you gave yourself for number 1, go down to that chart and put a dot right on the line that corresponds with your answer. Does that make sense? So whatever score you gave yourself for number 1, go down. And then number 2. Now the other ones don't have numbers, but just sort of estimate where it would be. So if it's a 4, it might be there. Connect your dots. And what you have is you have a visual representation of your level of success. So a visual representation, you know, human beings are visual. And that's why some companies will spend millions of dollars, in some cases millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, companies will spend on advertising to get their product on the TV because they want to reach the consumer and try to persuade the consumer to buy their product. And so because we're visual. And so I like to do this to see, okay, we're here to talk about how we can be, even though you're successful now, we're here to talk about how can we be even more successful in our studies, relationships, peace of mind or happiness or starting a business, whatever it is, how can we be more successful? So what we're doing is we're saying, okay, where are we starting from? It's just like if I wanted to get in shape, in really good physical condition, which I know you're saying, yeah, I probably should, right? But before I start running 10 kilometers a day and lifting weights for 3 hours a day, before I do all that stuff, I should visit somebody. Who? The doctor. Why? Because I need to know where am I starting from. And that's what we're doing here. Where are we starting from? But the next thing I want you to do is go back up top. And I would like you to choose your 2 lowest scores. Go back and put a star, put an X beside them. Choose your 2 lowest scores from up top. And if you have a tie, just sort of break the tie by choosing the one that's most important. These dots represent sort of our level of success in each category. Here's my question. Who is responsible, ultimately, who's responsible for the position of my dots?
You are.
Yeah. We're responsible for this chart. We're responsible for the position. Now, if you look at this, if we use this chart, really, if you think about it, we would prefer these dots to be out as far as they can be to the, what do you call it, circumference?
Yeah.
We would prefer that those dots be out as far as they can be. You didn't think there would be any math today, did you? Circumference. But we're responsible. Now, here's the question. How many people would prefer if those dots were out further? We probably all would, right? We all would like to be more successful. How do we move those dots?
By working on those things.
By working on them. What's another way of saying it? By taking action. The only way we can move those dots is by taking action. We can't move those dots with good intentions. One of these days, I'm gonna, can we?
Yeah.
We can't move them by blaming somebody else, and you don't do that because you're all good people. You don't do that. Or we can't move them by making excuses and sort of just checking out. They won't move that way. The only way they'll move is by taking action. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. Those 2 categories that you wrote on the back, I would like you to write down, let's try to get 3. 3 actions for each of those that you could take starting now that would even just start to move those dots. So for each of those categories, write down 3 actions. Think about this. Make them specific actions, something you could do or start doing more of that would even just start to bring those scores up. Does that make sense, you see? Doesn't have to be huge. For example, if I put one of mine is financial freedom. I mean, it can be something like stop going to Tim Hortons so much. Or it could be get a coffee can and start to put my loose change in the coffee. Something simple. Can I ask a favor? As you finish up, take your time. As you finish up, can I ask somebody to share? Now, you don't have to share even the category, but can you share some of the actions that you wrote down? Gary, would you share some of your actions? Nice and loud.
Eat better, see a doctor, stop smoking.
Okay.
For health and energy.
Okay, so health and energy, right? Eat better, stop smoking, see a doctor. Who else is finished? One action? Yes, Alexandria.
I have for self-knowledge and understanding. Financial freedom. Get a job and limit your spending.
Yeah, okay.
Clothes and stupid stuff.
Okay, not blowing your money on stupid stuff.
Buying your friends stuff all the time.
Bye. Okay, good. Who else? Share a couple of yours. Somebody? Medina? Would you share yours? Zelda, talk to me.
Financial freedom, I got stop eating out because I do tend to eat out a lot. And then stop smoking for financial reasons and then get a job.
Excellent. Those are all very simple. You say, well, those are really simple. Yes, they're simple, but they would be effective if we could do them, right? Now, when we think about our goals, and we'll end it with this. When we think about our goals, and the ingredients of success and making our life everything it can be, what's our reason for that? And sometimes, I don't know, if you're like me, sometimes those reasons get a little fuzzy and we sort of lose that motivation.
Yeah.
So what's the key? Is to get it back and to start thinking, when I'm finished that program, when I get that education, when I get that job, how great it's going to be, so that it will spur us on when we feel like quitting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Out of all the actions you wrote, choose one that you promise yourself that you will start doing or start doing more of. And just put a star beside it. In other words, what one thing are you going to do or do more of to move you towards your goals?
Mine's the same one.
Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We'll finish up.
Second one.
You don't get finished, don't worry about it.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
SS. Excuse, I don't need the SS. Double S.
No, LLS.
Yeah.
And what is the major obstacle between you and your goal?
Was it hard to answer some of those questions? Some of them kind of hard to answer? Yeah. But really, isn't this a good summary of what is our life? Right? Isn't it a good summary? It covers all the major areas, and it actually allows us to say, okay, what is it that what am I doing right? You know? And what do I need to do more of? It's not what am I doing wrong. We don't need to focus on that. What am I doing right? And congratulate ourselves, reward ourselves for that. And then what can I do that's more? Because my hand's up first. Is there anybody here that's perfect? I'm not. I'm not perfect. But there's room for improvement. And if ever I run into somebody in my sessions that say, yes, I'm perfect, I'm going to go sit down and I'm going to say, please come up and show me how to do it, because I'm not there yet, right? I'm still a work in progress.
In what situation, past or present, do you feel most at peace with yourself and the world?
Okay, so we're just going to go into this a little bit deeper. We're going to say, okay, what situation? So Adina's going to say, Leotra, in what situations do you feel most at peace? And Leotra's going to go, and she's going to tell her, and Adina will write the answer. So we're going to do that for each other. Any questions? Ready, steady, go. The whole point is to get to people starting to think about what is success to them. And it's
Better education.
it's everything. It's the peace of mind and happiness, the health and energy. It's the loving relationships. And it's the money, enough money we don't have to worry about money. So it's helping them to design and to identify and to define what is success for them. And then talking about who's responsible for increasing that success. Who's responsible for enhancing every part of their life and taking charge of their life. And so what we talked about here today is some of those things. And right now what they're doing is they're actually answering some questions that will start to help them take action. Because who's responsible for our success? It's us. How do we make that happen? By taking action. And the thing is, what I want to get across to people is that we all know what to do to improve our lives. If it's health, it's exercising, it's eating properly. If it's money, it's good money management. It's budgeting. But the challenge is, how do I get myself to do that? How do I motivate myself? And the word motivation can be broken into two parts. Motive is actually the reason why we do something. The second part, the suffix ATION, is the action part. So what is motivation? Is what is the reason to take action? And so that's what we're trying to make it simple, trying to make it personal for everybody, and trying to make it usable and practical. And so as we work through this, as we have some sort of imparting of information, and then my job here is to help them take that information and to make it real to their life. Because really, I always say this, what is the sense in learning something if it's just theory, if we're not applying it to our lives? And so part of that interaction with the group is to help them to sort of take that knowledge. And sometimes we don't really learn something till we teach it. So as we share and as we help people bring the answers out that are within them to answer these questions, it helps them as well. Now you have a test. Let's do this quickly because we got some work to do. look at this. This is the first part of your test. Look at it with the L and the R, left and right. So look at it the way I gave it to you. That's the first part of your test, is you have to figure out what is that. Let's just take a couple of minutes. What is that? Second part of your test, flip the page over. And look at the back of the page so that the paragraph is upside down, just for a moment. Test is, you have, and don't shout any answers out yet, but figure out what is that. And the fourth part of your test, turn it over so that you can see the paragraph. And the fourth part of your test, this is the easiest one, and this is the one I want you to start with quickly and just jot your answer down. Don't shout it out yet. But the fourth part of your test is count the number of F's, the letter F, in that paragraph. That's all you do. And I threw that easy one in just to get you started to build momentum. So count the number of F's in that, just in that paragraph, jot your answer down, and then go back to the other ones. Ready, steady, go. And this is worth 60% of your final mark today. There's always a little stress in the room when there's a test. I understand that. Now you ever notice sometimes in life, you ever notice that you're faced with a problem or a challenge and there seems to be no solution, you can't figure it out, anybody? And then all of a sudden you ask for help.
Yeah.
And somebody helps you. So go ahead, ask for help.
Can you help me?
Okay. You didn't ask, you say it. All right. Here's your help. Here's a hint. Take the sheet, put it flat on your hand, as flat as you can. Put it out arm's length, tip it away from you as much as you can, and yet still see the top. And you will see big long lines. Close.
So our fears.
Last word starts with T. Last word starts with T. Anybody get the first word yet?
Gnomes.
Gnomes. Gary says the first word is gnomes. R.
Right here.
Starts with N. Night.
Night. So are trolls.
What's the lesson in that? The lesson is that there can be something right under our nose and obvious, but if we're not looking at it, somehow we can miss that. And opportunities are like that. If we're not looking for the opportunities, if maybe we've gone through some hard times and we're sort of used to things not working out for us, then what happens is we won't see those opportunities. They might be all around us, but we sort of have this tunnel vision. So that's the lesson in that. You ever hear somebody say, I've always wanted to something. I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar. I've always wanted to travel to Scotland, to Afghanistan, to Vancouver. Always wanted to go to Disneyland. Always wanted to work at a bank, or whatever. But we say we always wanted to do that. How many people sort of have said that? I always wanted to, learn how to play something. But we haven't done it. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of something that you sort of always wanted to do. It's like a dream almost, but you have not done it yet. Can everybody think of something?
I can think about a lot of things. I can think about a lot of things.
Yeah, so Alexandria has a lot. So choose one of those. Now, once you've chosen one, I want you to share it with your partner. We'll do this quickly because I want to work as a group more of it. But share it with your partner. Your partner will write it down. So Mr. Weber might say to Zelda, he might say, I always wanted to bungee jump. And then Zelda's going to say, she's going to write that down. And then she's going to say, well, Mr. Weber, tell me all the reasons why you have not done that yet. And you go, well, I don't know where to go. I might not have enough money, or whatever it is. Why have I not done it? Okay, so we're going to do that for each other. So your neighbor will tell you what it is. You'll write it down, and then you say, tell me all the reasons why you have not done it. And then you're going to write all the reasons why they have not done it. Not the reasons why they want to do it, but the reasons why they haven't done it. Any questions? Let's do this really quickly. Ready, steady, go. That's correct.
But anyway,
You need a partner.
You want me to write it?
And, no.
You guys done?
It's my
Okay, we're going to take 2 minutes and finish up. I'd love to have more time, but we'll take 2 minutes. What is the difference between a reason why you didn't accomplish something And what's this word?
Excuse.
Excuse. Okay, I need your help. What's the difference between a reason why I didn't accomplish something or do something and an excuse? Somebody.
A reason may be like an obstacle that you have no control over.
So no control. It's an obstacle. I like that. Whereas an excuse would be what, Caitlin?
Just something you tell yourself just to keep.
It's sort of made up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not valid.
Yeah, it's not necessarily something that would get in the way.
Yeah. Now, what I like to say too, I agree with that. Anybody else have anything else? But that's sort of what we're looking at. There's one more thing I want to add to this, and it's this. And this whole session we talk about taking charge of our lives, right? Taking charge. And sometimes we put things. How many people put things off? Procrastinate. That's the word. We do that. Why do we do that? Well, we'll talk about that. But a reason why I didn't do something and an excuse. I like to say it this way. If it's just an excuse, then I would say that, and I think I made this word up, I'm not sure, but I would say it's overcomable.
Oh, yes.
I think I made that up. It's overcomable. I'm just making it up. And if I really wanted to do it, I could overcome that. Of course, the reason is non-overcomable, right? Can't overcome it. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this. Look at the list of reasons why they didn't accomplish it. And I want you to look at that reason, and I want you to help them and say, so Caitlin might say, Medina, you're saying you didn't do it because of this and this, but did you ever think of doing that or trying this? And if you really wanted to, could you have done that? And right? Mm-hmm. Not to be this way, but just to be helpful.
There's a place on Agriculture Street. They have ballroom dancing. Even right over here, there's a little rec center right over here.
You have to
You have to
stop. No.
Stop and go. Don't learn how to get my license.
Yes. I would say that this one is an excuse. And this one is more
Yours are just
a reason, yeah.
No cash to go. How can you tell somebody to get cash to go?
Could say one of your family members say, Albert, you know you can do this. You just tried. You know you can do it.
Okay, so here's the deal. Did anybody find that the so-called reasons to begin with were kind of excuses? Why? Because they're overcomable? Anybody find that? And did you help them to overcome them? Right? So here's the question. Whatever you told your neighbor, here's my question. Whatever you told your neighbor, what do you think the chances are that you could actually accomplish that in, let's just say in the next 2 years? What are the chances? Do you ever go to bed at night and you're laying there in the dark and in the quiet and it seems you can't stop thinking about your problems and worries? I got to do this. I should have done that. Oh man, I can't. I don't know if I can do that, right? And it sort of all comes at us at once. And what happens is what? We get so overwhelmed that we just sort of throw our hands up at some point and say, I can't do it. I can't do it. But what I like about this, just to end it with this, is that we don't have to fix everything at once. We don't have to. We can't fix everything at once. When we try, it's actually counterproductive. What can we do? We can actually start to work on one thing and work on that little by little. Work on that. Bring that score up. And you know what happens? If you look at the list, what happens is as we start to bring that score up just a little bit. What was that?
Well, when you try to bring up your financial freedom, loving and relationships come into play, health and energy comes into play, and peace of mind definitely will go up on its own.
Yeah.
Because then you take some stress off your shoulders, and once you do that, you seem to be more happier. And once you're happier, your family sees that, and they're more happier. Then you're interacting better, and just everything just seems to fall into place.
I like that. Does anybody else have any other questions? So what's the key? Key is what? Key is find out what to do. Dwell on the reasons why to do it. If that takes a vision board, if that takes getting some visuals, if that takes focusing on it, if it takes writing our goals down. By the way, 3% of the population writes goals down properly. 3% of the population sets goals properly. But how do you set goals properly? We don't overcomplicate it. we get a little notebook and we write the goal down with an action plan with timelines and deadlines, right? And as we work on those goals, then that sort of reinforces the reasons why we want to do it. Any questions, any thoughts? So thank you. I want you, okay, I have one final test for you. One, here it is. It's easy.
What is it?
When you see, okay, now watch. When you see my hands pass, I know I'm out of time, but I'm going. 2 minutes. When you see my hands pass like this, I want everybody to clap, okay? So when they bypass each other, clap. This is just a little test. It's worth 40% of your mark. Ready? That's okay. I probably didn't explain it properly. Let's try it again. Okay, ready?
No.
So when they pass, right? When they do. Let's try it again.
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I learned from this workshop that I am working towards my goals a lot better than I thought I was. Hopefully with this, to be able to communicate within a partnership, I'd be able to communicate better in front of crowds.
I invite Urom Kresta to our community because I like his workshop. It was good, and I was think to be help our community because we needed to breed ourselves.
Today I have learned to myself to how to make better myself. It was really helpful for me, and that's thing I just say thank you from the literacy program, and that's thank you.
The best thing I learned about this workshop today was the ingredients of success. It showed me on a piece of paper how to work with peace of mind and financial freedom, and it was like with a chart, so it's easy for me to realize with something on a piece of paper than to just ask myself a bunch of questions. So it was easier for me, but I guess it's like Earl said, the more you work on one ingredients, then the others just fall into place.
Okay, this workshop empowered me to believe in myself and to attain success in my future goals, and to understand that I'm the only person that will move myself.
I came in Canada about 2 years now, and I'm studying in Canada Learning Center. And today we were having like workshop literacy, which was very important. It gave me a lot of ideas. I'm encouraging all of my friends adults to be serious and attend the adult learning. It's very important for all adults. If you want to if you want to reach your goals or get your grade 12 diploma, it's very important. So I'm very happy to attend this workshop today. It was very helpful for me. It's educated me on a lot of things. I'm happy to be in Canada. Okay, let's